Marshall in the middle.
Good evening, everybody. Here we are. On the NBC Room. I got Ranger Nate with me. I got the boss, Penny Cox. Look at her. She's sitting there. I can hear myself in the background through her speaker because she's just right on the other side of the room. That's not going to work. We're going to have to get you.
I turned it off. I turned it down.
Yeah, still it's not working, I promise. Oh, well, welcome everybody. Penny, please mute yourself. We are here having a good time at the NBC Room, and everything we have here is sponsored by Penny A. Cox, Esquire, attorney at law. If the popo's chasing you, call Penny. We happen to have her on the line with us tonight, and there she is in the flesh. And look at her smiling face. And we're gonna have a good time tonight. We're talking. Look, and Penny, I'm gonna put you away for a little while. You said if you got something to say, you'll let me know. But she is here, and we'll go ahead and get her off the screen. But Nate, dude, our boys are deploying. They're packing their bags. They're out on Ardennes, calling manifest and dragging their duffel bags and their Alice packs around, right?
Yeah. All our boys, I think, I saw this morning on the news that they are, the commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division is actually working with the Pentagon right now. If I'm not mistaken, I heard it this morning on Fox News, actually, and they're pretty precise on this situation ever since it started. Man, I don't know, dude. It looks like I don't think it's going to be a brigade task force. I think it's going to be the entire division, brother. From what they were saying this morning on the news, if it's the entire division, and then later on around 5 o'clock, I heard also that the D boys, the Delta boys, and 75th Ranger Regiment, and obviously everybody already knows about an expeditionary Marine Corps element's going to be is already in the area, and the 82nd's already en route. So it looks like there's going to be something going down, and we just don't know what it's going to be. I can't wait to find out what it's going to be. I have an assumption it might be one of those islands, where all the energy's reserved on and all that stuff, like a takeover of it, or for the Strait of Hormuz, just securing that area so that ships can fly, or I'm sorry, ships can sail. Oil tankers and stuff can go through there clearly without any repercussions or anything. We don't know yet, and that's what's good about this administration. And my aspect of it is because they don't necessarily come out and just say, "This is what we're doing. This is the timeline, and this is how it's going to be." End of story. And we don't do that with this guy in the White House, and I kind of appreciate that. Keeps our guys safer, and it keeps the enemy on their toes, on their back heels, actually, I should say.
I went down to my garage this morning and I got my harness single point release, and I got my my HPT lowering line, and I got my Alice pack, and I rigged up my stuff, and I made sure I was proficient. I'm getting ready, man. They're gonna call me. They're gonna need me. They're gonna need a safety. They're gonna need something, and so I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna show them I'm ready to go.
Can you imagine if it's an actual airborne invasion of some type? Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine it. Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't have worded it that way. Of course, I can imagine it. We lived that life. I lived it for 10 years straight. But can you imagine if this is a no shit combat jump scenario in Iran? I mean, not Iraq. I almost said Iraq. Iran. Can you imagine that? It'd be unimaginable. It's never happened or never even thought about in our lifetime until now. And I remember, I think it was last week, Wednesday, you were talking about, you had heard rumors that they were going to possibly put on alert for a brigade task force of the 82nd, one of the combat brigades. And I hadn't heard that yet. But then what I saw this morning, I was like, well, the last 2 days actually, that's confirmed, and they're en route. And now what I heard this morning, like I told you earlier, I don't know if the division commander is going to authorize a full-blown division alert, high-speed, straight-up division alert. Because let's face it, we don't have a brigade in Afghanistan, or we don't have a brigade in Iraq right now, where there's only one brigade left back at Bragg for a QRF or DRB1 or however they even word it nowadays. I don't even know how they even word it. But I can see that, But if we're going to put the entire, 26,000 paratroopers over there, something's about to go down, and shit's about to get real. I mean, a Marine Corps Task Force, Delta Force, 75th Ranger Regiment, and can you imagine the entire 82nd Airborne Division? That's like your Major League Baseball team right there, all wrapped in. I mean, you don't get no better than that right there. That's it, man.
Yeah. So what if actually the headquarters of the 82nd that has been activated, what if they're headed to Cuba to take over there as a provisionary government in Cuba?
That makes sense. One thing I've learned about this administration, particularly with this president, they can multitask 7,000 things at one time. Okay. So that would make sense also. Hey, we have a brigade on alert for what's about to go down or not go down in Cuba. Because to be honest with you, Will, I really don't see them, and I don't see a purpose why he would send the entire division over for the Iranian situation right now, because they are so depleted. But who knows? We don't know that. We just don't know.
Well, a couple things about the 82nd. One of the things about the 82nd is that they're immediately deployable. You can look at the 82nd at any time of day and know that they're at some level more ready to go than almost any other unit than other than what's in Korea. That's sitting there ready, fully manned and all that stuff. The 82nd is manned at 100%. They have capabilities where they can fight and win on their own. And I don't know. I don't know where the 82nd might go and what they might do. But they can have their hands on us at any time and know that they're getting somebody that can do a multitude of missions, whether it's peacekeeping, whether it's just stand guard somewhere, whether you got to jump in somewhere. You're getting the best when you grab Delta, the 75th, and the 82nd, obviously, right?
Absolutely. Everybody knows that. That's why when I heard that this morning, I was like, wow, something's going down. But like you said, perhaps there could be one brigade going in with the Marine Corps to secure that island. And then maybe perhaps one brigade might be on standby in Kuwait as a QRF contingency, or in Iraq, or in Syria. We still have those bases. Well, I'm sorry, I think we got rid of our bases in Syria, but I know we still have at least 2 or 3 strongholds in Iraq, which is irrelevant actually, because we still have Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Yemen, and Oman, but it's going to be interesting. And what's funny? It's like every time you wake up in the morning, you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know how this is going to, like you're going to be like, wake up and go, oh my gosh.
Right.
2nd Brigade of the 82nd Airborne Division just jumped into whatever that island's, the name of that island, Garn Island or
Karg Island.
Karg Island. You just never know. I mean, it's I can't wait. I can't wait for something. What I mean is, I can't wait to find out what's the next chapter in this war, which I really believe is going to be quick, fast, and it's already been very powerful. It's already been very excessive on the enemy. They don't have any grounds. And then again, you see these leaders, so-called leaders, that whoever they are, that come on national television in Iran, the Iranian people, and they're saying there's no negotiations. There's not. Your president's lying to you. He's lying to the world. This and that, and it's just something. It's almost like a soap opera, man, like an actual military movie we're watching before us.
It's neat to think about it that way. I remember when Desert Storm was going on, Desert Shield, I was stuck in Korea, and they had CNN and Wolf Blitzer and whoever the folks were, up in the towers, and they got their binos out, and and we're waiting for the war to start. This is an interesting kind of situation. Trump is definitely telling the world, you do not want to mess with me. You do not want to mess with the power of the United States of America. And he's saying to Iran and other countries, look, if you've been bad to us over time, you need to change your ways and start being nice. And if you do, we're cool. But if you're going to talk on two sides of the street and, I don't know. I really believe that Iran had every opportunity to join the world stage, right? He doesn't do these things with Russia. He doesn't do these things with, I don't know. Iran has killed a bunch of Americans with their proxy war and the way they did things with their funding of all of the rebel groups that are all over. And so, like you said, I pray that it happens, that it's over quick, right? That it's like for the 82nd, it's like a 3-day field problem. Like, yeah, we jumped in, we took our objectives, and then they shipped us out of there. The other thing while I'm talking is by sending the 82nd headquarters over, you realize that everybody that works under the 82nd Airborne, they take on that airborne spirit. And so you could send that 2-star over with his headquarters and then put a bunch of different good units with it. And next thing you know, you got a hell of a force, because there's not bad units in the Army anymore. I mean, I just can't imagine there being units that are not halfway competent at their job. I'm telling you, when I was in, and Nate, tell me if you saw it different, dude, we were good. Every unit I was in, we would kick your damn ass. It was not, no, oh no, we're not a good unit. We can't shoot you as well as the other. No, hell no. We're going to kill you. If we weren't the best, we thought we were. Right. Yeah. And that's what's important. Right.
Absolutely. Not one unit I ever served in was a bad unit. Like, you might have had 1 or 2 bad leaders within that unit, like every unit has. Maybe 1, 2 bad officers, 1 or 2 bad NCOs that you served with. And, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, when the bullets get launched at you or whatever, because I served in combat with the 82nd Airborne Division and 1st Infantry Division. Believe it or not, my first Desert Storm tour, or not first, but when I went to Desert Storm, I was a soft skill MOS, and I was with the 44th Medical Brigade out of Fort Bragg, believe it or not, and I was in a medical unit. And I tell you what, those were high speed, low drag dudes too, man. Guys and girls. And they got after it every single day. There was nobody hurting and wounded and all that stuff. I was just, I don't. You're right. So if the task force commander would be the 82nd Airborne Division headquarters, that would be very realistic. Number one, because we've seen it happen before. Whatever major unit has taken. I think for one time, not one time, I think 2 or 3 times, even in Baghdad, the 82nd Airborne Division was in command of like the division commander would be the task force commander on the ground in Iraq for a year, and then they would rotate it out to, whoever, 1st Infantry Division, 10th Mountain Division. You know what I'm saying,
Right?
But this would be an opportunity right here. So if the headquarters from the 82nd Airborne Division is deployed over there, I could see them in Kuwait, command and controlling the entire whatever's going to happen, command and controlling the entire thing. If Will and our viewers, if ground forces literally have to go on the ground, and I know the Iranian leadership, whoever they are, because nobody knows, the Iranian leadership, they're playing some dangerous cards, and I think they already know that. They're playing some very dangerous cards playing with this guy, because he said he's giving them till Friday or Saturday. He gave him a 5-day deadline. He extended the 48-hour Karg Island. If you don't open up the Strait of Hormuz, we are going to destroy your energy infrastructure across your country. And they already know it. We got them targeted. They're already targeted. They've been targeted for probably decades. But we know exactly where they're at, where they are. They know we know that. I mean, obviously, we've made a pretty good point in the last 3.5 weeks already. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting, Will.
I love it. Hey, if you're watching this segment, sponsored by Penny A. Cox, Esquire, attorney at law, for all your attorney needs. If the popo's chasing you, call Penny. I'd like to take an opportunity to talk about our donor status. So we have our basic donors, our senior donors, and our master rated donors. If you would like to be a donor, go to marshallinthemiddle.com and please donate, and we appreciate it. We're run off of donations, and Ranger Nate's our latest master rated donor. Thank you very much for your donation. We appreciate it. And I went to my buddy's memorial service and funeral this past weekend, and it was neat that his sister asked that donations in his name be made to Marshall in the Middle instead of flowers and stuff. So it's been neat to have some of those donations come in, and it's just a wonderful thing to see how this Marshall in the Middle and the stuff that we're doing, Ranger Nate, is it's doing good, not only for us but our community, the veterans that we're a part of. So I think I might have asked you this before, but I'm gonna ask you this again, but in a different way. All right, you got recalled. You got to go back to the division. What job are you taking, and what weapon are you going to carry?
Woo, that's a good one there. What job I want? I'd like to be a company first sergeant in 3505, which doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. It's 573rd Cavalry, RISTA, Reconnaissance, Surveillance, Target Acquisition. I would like to go back to that unit and be one of the company first sergeants there if I had a choice. I want my feet on the ground. And my weapon of choice, I got to have my old M4 carbine and then a 9mm strapped to my chest on my body armor there, just for a little bit of backup in case somebody gets too stupid and too close to me. And I can't get my rifle up, too fast, but I always carried my 9mm on my chest, and then I always carried my M4 with all the little toys on there, my tac light and my lasers and all that stuff on there and stuff. But yeah, that's the weapon of choice I would be carrying, and that's the position I would want. I wish when I made E8, I would have been in the 82nd Airborne Division, and I really didn't have an opportunity because the Army at that time, we talked about this once or twice in the past, but the Army at that time, 15, 16 years ago, you didn't have a choice. Once you made senior rank, you were going where they were going to tell you you're going to go. I mean, And you can say all day, well, I'm a light infantry guy, jump master qualified, ranger qualified. I belong in the back of the 82nd Airborne Division, or maybe you can send me to the 75th Ranger Regiment or something like that. They didn't care. They were putting us everywhere. They put me in a mechanized unit where I retired from, out of Fort Riley, 1st Infantry Division, and they just didn't care because they were putting us all over the place. They were putting light guys in mechanized units, and then they were putting mechanized guys in light units. So it was kind of confusing, but that's what the big Army was doing in those days, 15, 16 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
My wife, I believe she's getting ready to come on here and say hi to everybody, and then maybe you can ask her a question or two, and she could put her 2 cents in if you don't mind, Will.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Go ahead, Jess, you're open.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, I was not expecting to be on today, but turned out to be that way. Hi, I'm Jessica Aganaga, one wife of Nathan Aganaga. Hardest job in the military, wife of this guy. So, so one thing, I've been listening to you guys today and then every other episode you guys have had. And one thing I have is I was listening to a media personality yesterday talking about this whole Iran thing. She drove me insane because she actually said, and this woman is seasoned, she should know better, but she actually said that President Trump shouldn't tell Iran an end state or what his plans are. And I don't think any administration should ever put all their eggs in a basket and tell the public what they're about to do, because if you tell the American public, you're telling the public of the enemy as well. It's not like they don't have CNN and all these news media too. And she actually said, but he owes us an answer of when this is going to end. Like there's, hey, April 15th, we're going to pull out. We're going to be done. You know what I mean? We don't have that. So it's like, that is a dumb answer or a dumb question to ask of when is this going to be done? When the mission is done. And obviously, if he's putting in the 82nd, he is very serious about this mission. Now, with the 82nd going in, every time I keep hearing the 82nd, I keep beaming with joy and stuff. I am prior service. I am not an 82nd person. I was part of the elite water purification specialist. And so I was stationed in Germany, and I was never, in, big division like that or anything like that. But, I hear it from my husband, and it beams me with joy that, you guys are like, when you talk about sending in the badasses, you send in, this force. And couldn't be more proud of you guys, past, present, and future. Couldn't be more proud of the 82nd and everything that's about to happen. They talk about the 82nd, the whole division being on alert. I don't imagine it's all for Iran. I don't imagine you put every egg in one basket. But hey, I mean, there's a lot going on in the world, and they probably have a lot going on there. And also thinking about Iran. So you had on one of your Heroes episodes, Ken Krause, an amazing individual. I'm reading his book right now. You can see my bookmarker in there. I'm not done yet. Oh my gosh, this book is amazing. What is it called? A Marine Endures Hell. And I'm like, not even halfway through, and I have to keep making him pause the TV. I'm like, do you know what just happened? And I have to say what just happened to the poor man. But, that was 1979, and can you tell me their ideology has changed much since? And I don't believe it has. And the problem with, us, even military, is that we go in there thinking that you're fighting people who are like you. The people of Iran, I believe, are good-hearted people born in Iran. You don't ask where you're born. You endure it. You get a job. You raise a family. You do the best you can. You do what you can with your life. But it's their leadership that is been crazy. I mean, for a very long time. And the fact that we are now finally trying to be like, you can't keep doing this. You can't do this to the world. And this man's book actually talks about the beginning of the end for that nation's leadership. Their leadership needs a new role so that their people can have a better life. And then that's all I got to say about that. And then I'll go ahead and bring Nate back on.
Hey, all right. Thanks, Jessica. that's a lot of fun to think about the things that have gone on for so long, and maybe that they can be fixed now. Maybe that there's um maybe this is part of a new world order that we can function together. I have said a few things recently. I have said that we would be doing what we have ended up doing in Greenland, which is basically putting all of our stuff there. And now at least somebody is saying, okay, I'm defending Greenland, and nobody's messing with us. We're going to be taking Cuba before long. Cuba is going to become a protectorate in some kind of way. Venezuela has already happened. Um, remember in the 70s, we were big friends with the Iranians. I mean, it was before my time. I didn't understand it, but my dad, my dad was a defense contractor even back then, and he talks about how things went sour, and even some of the work that he had planned and some of the trips that he had going on all of a sudden got canceled because the defense contractors and everybody had to stop working with Iran, and they started working with other people, and that's a big thing right now. We have shown that we can blow everybody else's stuff up, right? Now we haven't gone directly up against the Chinese stuff, so we don't quite know there. But everything that we've done against the supposed Russian air defenses and stuff, I'm telling you, dude, that's weird that we can just cut the power off. It's almost like we have a drone or something that shoots a EMP beam or something and shuts the power off, at least temporarily. Have you heard about that? Did you see about what they did there?
Yeah, I saw that. What they did in Venezuela, I think you're talking about, when they actually shut down their power grid, man, and just went in there and annihilated. But the thing of it is, too, Will, is if you remember Desert Storm in 1990, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, 1990, 1991, that was a show of force to the world. It's like, hello, we're back. After Vietnam, what the Iranians did to us in 79 with our hostages and all that, we were kind of almost like a laughing stock to the world at that point. And then you turn around and you see Desert Storm, fast forward to 1990, 1991, and the whole world was like, what does the United States think they're going to do with the fourth largest army in the world, Iraq, going against Saddam Hussein and the fourth largest army in the world? And we went over there and literally ended it. What was it? The 100-hour war, they called it, man. And it was over. I mean, with the ground forces. But we had a hell of an air campaign. Now, let's fast forward it to 2026. Our military capability, there hasn't been one foot on the ground that we know of, other than I'm sure there's been some special operators, like CIA guys also as well, intelligence that have been operating there forever. But look what we have done to that country, Iran. Now, you're talking about a country the size, like they always say, it's two sizes larger than Texas. And it's huge, man. It's if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the second largest country in the Middle East compared to Saudi Arabia, and they're not too far apart if you look at the actual size of the countries themselves, But and that's really neither here nor there how big you are. But I think this is a show of force to the world, like you were just suggesting. Hey, look what we can do, boys and girls. Okay, you better back off, China, Russia. We're trying to get you in a peaceful situation with Ukraine. Back off, because we just annihilated Iran's military in literally 3 weeks, dude. We literally just, and we're on the way home right now. We're on the way home, and I think the last phase of this operation, and I think everybody else knows it too. And I've been out of the Army for 16 years. I don't get briefed and all that stuff and all this shit. But what I'm saying is, they're moving into a period now where all we have to do is open up that strait, or the Strait of Hormuz, and that's it, man. And like I told you last week, hey, rest of you countries in the Middle East and Europe, NATO, hello NATO, it's all yours now. We did the hard part. We lost, what did we lose? 12 military, active duty military personnel thus far. I know we lost the 7, and then we lost 6, 13. But anyways, well, we're not playing games, and this is an eye opener for every adversary that the United States has across this globe right now. This is an eye opener. Hey, here's the real power. And then you hear these stories like what President Trump says, we can unleash a lot more. You haven't seen nothing yet. And it's crazy. And we're not talking about nuclear weapons. You know, everybody knows that. We can wipe you off the face of the earth if we wanted to, man. We can turn North Korea, Iran, we can turn them into a parking lot if we really wanted to. But he's not going there. He's trying to give them a way out. And I think, seriously, Will, I think he's trying to talk to somebody, or he is talking to somebody that's listening to him saying, stop this now, or we will take out your energy source, and then your country's done, man. You're absolutely, that's the last final straw they have for survival of that country. And then they're going to have to rebuild it from square one if that happens. And I'm talking energy, I'm talking oil, refineries, energy grids, you know, electrical grids, everything. We can annihilate you. And like I said, that's just an eye opener for the rest of the world to just open their eyes and go, wow, the United States, man, they're for real. They are for real.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, that's one of the things that crossed my mind is we may be sending the 82nd in as peacekeepers to keep the IRGC folks away from the regular folks. We may go in there and, you know, bolster some things. It'd be an interesting thing to see what it all turns out to be. So hey, Nate, let's close this out. I'll give you the last word.
Okay, I want to thank everybody. I know we kind of called it short tonight. Our buddy Ray, our nuclear biological chemical sergeant, he had a work emergency this afternoon, and so he couldn't make it tonight. But he's going to be back on next week with us, and we're going to have a good time again, and we're going to get a little bit more into political status next week on next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure. Hi, Penny, and we're going to have a good time. But I want to say thanks to everybody for watching us tonight. We kind of had to come up with our own kind of categories tonight, which was great. And I appreciate my wife and Penny. If you have anything to add to this, if you have anything that you want to add in, come on in and whatever. But that's what I have to say for closeout. If you want to keep going, Will, or you know, the Iran thing was interesting, and it brings us close to home because of the 82nd Airborne Division is now literally involved in this situation, and I kind of can't wait to see how it's going to turn out. I really can't. It's going to be interesting, brother and sister.
He wants to wake up and see the 82nd has jumped into some unnamed airfield somewhere. That's what he's looking for. So, hey, if the popo's chasing you, call Penny for all your lawyer needs. Penny A. Cox, Esquire. If you're in Iran and you're afraid of being invaded, call Penny. She can help you out, man. All right, bye, everybody. Oh, man.
Marshall in the middle.